I'm so glamorous.
Mm-hmm. Croeso friends, welcome back to Opus Eleni, where we put one accessory on before leaving the house. I can't believe it's already September, croissants. I feel like the year is flying by. I am still struggling to settle into the autumnal schedule, which happens every year, so I shouldn't be surprised. There's just something about the continued summer weather with the start of school and the beginning of eventing season here in Onstiora that just throws me off for about a month every year. Because of that, I didn't get to a bigger project this week. Instead, I decided to rummage around in the high medieval period again and look for a smaller project that better fit into my chaotic schedule. And what caught my eye were these. This is a headwear set called a barbette, the piece of linen wrapped vertically around the head under the chin, and a fillet, a crown-like band encircling the head horizontally. Sometimes it has a ruffle or frill at the top, sometimes it's just plain. The barbette and fillet was worn as part of a feminine dress and had quite a long span of popularity. We see them start to show up in manuscripts and statues in the early 13th century, and they stay in vogue until the mid-14th. So everyone go grab your cuppa. Today I am drinking Genmaicha tea from David's Teas. It is a green tea with toasted rice and has this wonderful nutty sort of peaceful flavor that is just what I need to calm myself in the middle of all of this chaos. Let's get into it. First off, I need to measure my head. All of the manuscripts and statues show people who wear a barbette and fillet wearing their hair either loose or in a low bun, maybe two buns, contained by a hairnet called a caul or crispine or crispinette. For the fillet, I want the linen to be completely on grain. Some of the illuminations do seem to show a flared fillet wider at the top than at the base, but I'm trying a straight-sided version, and keeping everything on grain will stop it from being potentially wonky. To make sure the fillet has some rigidity, I am using some linen Ida cloth as an interfacing, since it has a decent thickness and stiffness to begin with. After I cut a 2.5 inch wide strip, I will also give it a quick spray starch and iron for some additional body. I cut the interfacing to the length of my head, which leaves some overlap on either end. I'll encase the lining in the white linen completely and sew the butted ends to each other as the last step. Here I am fitting the Ida cloth inside the white linen and pinning one edge of that linen over. This will hopefully make inserting the frill easier when the time comes for that. I'm taking some more of that white linen, conveniently left over from my bathing chemise project, and pulling threads for a 2.5 inch wide strips for the frill. I am not sure if I will need more, but I can add another strip on as I go if that's necessary. To attach the two strips together, I'm employing a technique I learned from the Elizabethan Costuming Facebook group. It's used in rough making, where a flat and unobtrusive join is needed to create a continuous length of fabric. Basically, the very ends of two fabric strips are folded over and then hooked together like the hands of the Von Trapp family singers before tacking both folds into place. Once the strips are attached to each other, I will hem the frill. Normally I'd use Enya's magic veil stitch to make this rolled hem like my veil videos, but I'm going to do something different this time. The magic veil stitch starts with one fold and then the thread folds that in half again, resulting in a hem that is 4 layers of fabric thick. Since I'm working with a mid-weight linen rather than a handkerchief weight, I'm instead opting to do a very narrow turned hem, folding the edge up and then up again. Then I will fell it into place with a whip stitch and the resulting hem will only be 3 layers of fabric. To gather up the frill for the top of the barbette, I sewed a narrow zigzag stitch over a length of crochet cotton. It's a bit stronger than using the sewing thread to gather, as that has a tendency to snap. I'm going to mark out even sections on both the band and the frill and pin them together to serve as a guide for how much each section should be gathered. Initially, I was just free gathering them, but if you gather a frill too much, it will twist up and warp the band, so I switched to the divide and conquer method, which gave me the look I was wanting without any warping. After I have gathered and attached the frill using every single pin I own, I'm going to further secure the gathers with a back stitch along the gathering thread. I'm being careful to only catch the Ida cloth interlining. I want those stitches to be invisible. Then I will sew the top of the fold of the frill with a whip stitch. Next, I'll fold the seam allowances on the other half of bleached linen toward the inside, pin them in place, and then whip stitch them down. The last step for the fillet is to sew the ends together. Again, I'm using a simple whip stitch. Thank you to all of my current and continuing Ko-fi members. Your support and the support of all of my members and croissants makes it easier to do what I do and to provide quality content for everyone. Thank you so much. Stick around after this brief commercial break to see me make the barbette to go with. First, I need to figure out how long to make the barbette. Many of the manuscripts and statues that have the wider version show an additional narrow band over the top of the wider section. In order to get this effect, I will make one end of the linen strip wider, then narrow to fit under my chin and wrap around my head again before pinning. '12th and 13th century barbettes ranged in width from sort of an abbreviated coif hugging the back and top of the head to a simple long rectangle of uniform width. What I'm making today is somewhere in between, but closer to the latter. Again, I'm using a very narrow twice folded hem secured with a whip stitch. Eventually, I will remember that I do have a weighted pin cushion and use that to secure one end of the barbette as I go. Thank you all for coming along with me today. I feel like making this project gave me so many ideas for how I would make it differently if I were to try it again, and so many theories on how the wider barbettes were constructed. I'll have to file them away for future projects. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe and click the bell if you like taking your chances with notifications, but I can't guarantee that YouTube will send them. If you're interested in finding me on social media, I am at OpusLNI everywhere, and the links will all be in the description box. I will also make sure to post a link to my Ko-fi where you can leave a one-time tip, browse my web shop, or join my membership tiers for additional content and a personal thank you of your very own in my next video. Until next time, be kind, do the work, continue supporting marginalized people, and keep creating. Hwyl!